My name is Ed Kim, and it's an honor to introduce Joon Kim. I served as an Assistant United States Attorney or federal prosecutor under Joon. It's okay, you can talk, I'm used to it. This happened at my own wedding, actually. But let me tell you this, federal prosecutors have a reputation for being tough, aggressive, fierce. And Joon Kim was a legendary prosecutor. In his day, he prosecuted Asian gangs, he prosecuted the Italian mob, he took John Gotti Jr. to trial. That's right. And there's an infamous story about Joon that's made its way around our office. When Joon was a prosecutor trying John Gotti Jr., this Italian mobster leans back in his chair and looks that Korean-American prosecutor in the eyes and he said, "Hey, Joon, after I get acquitted, you and I, we're gonna go out for an appletini." Joon's co-partner at that trial says, "What makes you think that Joon likes appletinis?" And John Gotti Jr. says, "He just looks the part." Now, I don't know if that story says more about John Gotti Jr. or Joon Kim. I do know Joon likes appletinis. I have one more story about Joon Kim. And this story tells you a little about what kind of leader Joon is. When Joon was chief of the criminal division in our office, which means that he was a pretty big deal, or at least that's what he used to like to tell me, we would have happy hours every Friday for the newest prosecutors. And Joon's predecessors, the other big deals in our office, they used to come down to this happy hour, stand in the middle of the room, hog the spotlight and tell stories, usually about themselves, and all the junior prosecutors would laugh politely at their stories. But I noticed something about Joon immediately, that he was different. When he came to those happy hours, he walked in quietly, sometimes unnoticed. He didn't take the center of the room, but he talked to junior prosecutors face to face, and he talked to them the way he talks to everybody else, respectfully, completely approachable. And he would tell jokes, and they would actually laugh, genuine laughs, because he's pretty funny. But that tells you about the kind of leader Joon is. He has no ego. He does the right things for the right reasons. It's why he left the U.S. Attorney's Office, one of the crown jewels of the Department of Justice, as one of its most revered leaders. And it's why it's such a great honor for me to introduce Joon Kim, my boss, my mentor, my hyungnim, my friend. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ed. This is a great event. Ed and I were talking earlier, we're used to going to events with lawyers, and it's totally boring. There are no story slamming. I tried to rearrange my remarks into a slam. Didn't really work. But I have to thank Ed. Ed was a true leader in the office. He was the chief. He was a terrorism prosecutor. He was the chief of the General Crimes Unit and a legendary figure in his own right. And I was particularly proud as the criminal chief, the deputy U.S. attorney, and the acting U.S. attorney to see him playing that role and to know there was another Kim in the office who was kicking ass. So, thank you, Ed. And now he's started his own firm. So if any of you get caught drunk driving on the way home tonight, Ed Kim, I think it's 1-800-we're cheap, right, or something? We're cheap but good, I think. But no, seriously, Ed's a pretty good lawyer. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Korean American Story. What a terrific organization. I really did not know what a great group this was. And to follow the people who spoke today, it's really inspirational. I want to congratulate the co-honorees and thank the Korean American Story organization for inviting me. And this really is a terrific award that we're going to get. I mean, look, one great thing about having positions like criminal division chief and acting U.S. attorney, deputy attorney is you get honored for things that you have no right to be honored for. You show up and you sit at events and you get plaques. The plaques usually have like the eagle and stuff. This is amazing. This is terrific. This actually I'm going to keep. I also have to thank my wife, Mina, who is here. We saw that clip of that movie, but all of you know here that the most powerful force on this planet is not gravity, it's Korean women. And there's no way I would have been able to do what I did unless she let me, which means spending years and years making no money when I could have been making a lot. And even that donation, I didn't do it, Mina did it. I mean, I actually don't have power to do that. All the men here know I can't donate unless Mina says it's okay. So I just handed her the phone, whatever you allow me to donate. So we all know the power of Korean women, and that's what I think is going to make Korea and America great again. So I didn't wear the hat. I actually had my red cap, but someone took it. We're supposed to tell a story. Mine is not as interesting or inspiring as the others we've heard. But here's my story. I am a first-generation Korean American. I was born in Los Angeles. My father was a Korean diplomat. He was the Korean consul to LA at the time. After that, we moved around the world. I moved back to Korea, lived in England for a while, went back to Korea, lived in Jordan for a while. I was switching languages every few years. So at the age of 14, I came to the United States by myself. And I've been here ever since. I grew up respecting public service. My father, as I said, was a Korean diplomat. He had devoted his life to serving his country. And so I looked for opportunities to serve mine. And I had the privilege and honor both to serve as a line prosecutor at the U.S. Attorney's Office and then to come back as in leadership roles and then ultimately as the acting U.S. Attorney. And my father passed away when I was 16. And every once in a while, I think about what my father would have thought. His little boy, his third child, serving his country, but not any country, but America. And for my father and his generation, this country was truly the land of hope and opportunity for people who were living in a war-torn country. To think that his son would one day represent the United States of America, a country that, for him, had sent hundreds of thousands of her daughters and sons to go to Korea and fight and to die for people who they didn't even know. And a country that at the time not only proclaimed a commitment to liberty and freedom, but backed it up with action. And so my parents were not Americans. They never became Americans. My mother still lives in Seoul. But they loved this country, and they respected this country, and they were grateful for this country. And this country gave their youngest son, someone who left home at 14, leaving his entire family in Korea, a country that educated him, and ultimately, years later, gave him the privilege to stand in a court or on a podium to represent the United States of America. And that is something that Ed knows. We would tell our youngest AUSAs, Assistant U.S. attorneys, you're going to get up and you're going to say, my name is Joon Kim, and I represent the United States. or Ed Kim, or whoever your name is. And we used to tell them, don't ever get used to that feeling, because it is a special feeling. Don't take it for granted. It is an incredible privilege and an honor that you need to make sure you are up to. And it is a very special privilege, I think, and something that you never get used to, particularly for people like Ed and me and for all of us who look different. And the point I want to make tonight about that is that I think it's been a little bit of the theme tonight, but for many of us in the minority community and the Korean American community, it can feel at times like we're not truly American. It can feel that this country's great history and traditions have less to do with us and more to do with those families who have been here for generations and generations. We don't look like our founding fathers, although I think there's a couple who got the Ben Franklin glasses here tonight. I appreciate the effort. We don't look like them, and so maybe we feel that this is not really our country, it's not our job, it's not our role to move this country forward. And I have to tell you that if you think that way, you're wrong. In many very important ways, groups like this one in this room tonight have more in common with our founding fathers, this country's founding fathers, than Americans who have been here for generations. Because like the founding fathers of this country, you, your parents, maybe your grandparents, left everything they knew or you knew and everyone you loved to come here, to risk everything that you have for a new life, a better life for yourselves and for your children and for their grandchildren. That's what our founding fathers did. And this country, from its birth, has relied on communities like ours, people in this room, as its spirit, as its ingenuity, as its engine. And the American dream has been fueled by communities like ours. This group in this room is American as apple pie, or as American as kimchi tacos. Which I think is more American now anyway. I mean, no one really eats apple pie. Personally, I like pumpkin pie. I like pecan pie, but Mina's allergic to nuts, so I eat that on the side when she's not around. But what I want to say is, despite everything that's going on, and we make fun of, and a lot of things that are going on now are disturbing, but there's still no dream like the American dream. And I hope it's people like you, it's people like the people in this room who will fuel that dream. And I hope that you all and we all live it, and that we don't just live it, but we shape it, and we define it, and that we make it better. So thank you for the honor tonight. Thank you for telling your stories, and thank you for telling the Korean American story.